Yo, what up, guys?
Hey, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing, man. How are you?
Good, good.
Hell yeah. Can you guys hear music at all or no?
Nope,
No,
not at all.
You can't?
Nope.
negative.
Nope.
Hmm. I got to figure that part out. I'm just over here jamming to Lincoln Park, man, by myself, it
Dude,
sounds like.
love it.
Hey, Ken.
Hi, Angel.
Sorry, I was gonna try to say hi. Hold on, I'm in my car. I'm driving.
Hmm. Hmm. Dang, I'm over here just jamming by myself. I got to figure out what the hell's going on here. Ken, what's good, bro?
Hey,
What's new with
what's
you,
up,
dude?
brother?
How's everything
Oh
going,
no,
man?
just it's chaotic, but I keep on moving on, man.
Well, chaotic is good. That's how you know you're
Yeah,
you're still alive and kicking, bro.
yeah.
Hey Jesse, how you doing?
Bro, Yuri, what up, bro? How are you, man?
Good, good, good.
Good.
Busy, staying busy, bro.
You're staying busy.
Yeah, I
That's the
locked
name of the
up
game, my friend.
locked up a $2.6 million house on 24 acres that
Nice.
I'm partnering up with somebody local. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
develop. So it's two parcels, house and other structures sit on 10 acres. And the other 14 acres is just land.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna sell off the house with 10 acres for about 1.2, 1.3 million, and build storage units and RV park on the rest.
Really? Oh my
Yep,
gosh. Wow, bro.
yep. Development project.
Wow, good for you, dude. That's dude, that's awesome to hear, man. Ken Wilson, the man, the myth, the legend, dude. Talk about locking up multi-million dollar fucking deals, man. This guy, yeah, you guys need to talk, man. Ken just locked
Yeah.
up like a 18, $19 million deal in
Dang.
Alaska creatively with no money out of his pocket.
Ken, how do I get a hold of you?
Yeah, Ken's the man, dude. Ken needs to be
I'll
running
I'll
this shit.
shoot my information to you in the chat box there, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get on the phone, bro.
Man, the
Yeah,
power of
absolutely.
proximity.
Absolutely.
Me and Angel were just talking about that deal today.
Proximity.
So
Oh, the deal. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm
yeah, we're
driving. So I left my camera off. But yeah,
we're
we're trying to get that one wrapped up quickly.
yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm ready to get down there before the snow flies.
Can't you guys
Yeah.
see? Ken's already sitting in his house, man.
What's up,
Yes.
Chris?
What's going on? I'm trying to fix my my camera and everything. I just got back to the office, so I'm about to switch over to my laptop right now.
All right. So while you're doing that, Chris, can you guys hear like that stuff?
Can't
No.
hear anything, Jesse.
You can't hear anything? Man,
No.
my kids had my headphones out. They were playing with them yesterday, and I was like, oh man, I gotta put those on so we can have some fun with like the the mixer board over here with all like the sounds and all the cool stuff I can do
Yeah.
with it. But
Was he in there playing a little more hot for teacher?
dude, wasn't that cool, man? Me and my wife were just in the kitchen talking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, dude, my 4-year-old Cole, is he listening to Van Halen right now?
I love it.
So I walked back there, and you guys just saw the whole thing happen live, dude. I'm like, hey, what are you listening to? And he's like, well, you listen to it. And I'm like, yeah, but what did you say to start this? Like, how did you know? And so he's like, well, let me show you. Alexa, play Eddie Van Halen. So I starts
Oh,
playing Van Halen, man.
fantastic.
Oh, freaking raising him right, man.
Your
That
little
is,
mini me,
that
that's for
is.
sure.
Get them into that rock music, brother. That's for sure.
100%, dude. 100%. So we got the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who made this whole thing come together. Zach, welcome, bro. How you doing?
Doing all right. How's it going, man?
Good, man. It's great to connect with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you for. I mean, you literally just put this whole thing together. This whole thing was for you, man. So everybody else just jumping in here, just kind of gets to see what's going on and hopefully learn from it. So thank you for allowing everybody the opportunity to do this, and thank you, for being here, man. Thank you for giving us some of your time. This is super cool.
Yeah, thank you as well. Let's
Absolutely.
break it down. Close.
So every superhero has their origin story, bro. For everybody who doesn't know, and we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'd like, for you to kind of take some time and introduce yourself to myself and Chris and everybody else here, man. Like where are you at in your business right now? Where do you live? What's your origin story? How'd you get to like where you are right now?
Wow, where I am right now. Well, let's see. I'm just a hick boy from nowhere, Indiana, out in the middle of nowhere. And pretty much the whole reason I got into real estate was actually to try to fund my band, to try to tour. And I do deliveries and stuff like that. So one day I delivered to a vacant house and I thought to myself, I was like, well, what are people doing with this vacant house right here? So I started going down the YouTube rabbit hole and stuff like that. I told my he was my vocalist at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, we can make tons of money if we can figure out how to sell this house right here. And I'm like, we can fund our whole trip. We can do whatever we have to do to go tour. And he was on board for a little while until obviously it got rocky. I mean, it got real rocky right there at 2020.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I even found out about real estate, because I don't even have anybody in my family that does real estate, or I don't even know anybody really that does real estate around here. But yeah, I just started going down the rabbit hole, started watching Jerry Norton, started watching Ty the Flip Man, all kinds of guys until I got to Pace Morby right at his very beginning time.
Yep.
And then I happened to see what used to be my general manager at Pizza Hut, which was on doing a talk show or something for Pace Morby. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? like I know this lady. I used to work with her. And yeah, so that really got me really intrigued. Started going down that, started getting into creative finance, started trying to figure out how to expand my business, but I just kind of ran out of steam there. Let's see, probably the beginning of this year was just starting to get tough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I started focusing on other stuff because I also got a whole bunch of other things I'm doing right now. We're doing like a plant shop, we farm, grow hemp. I got a YouTube channel I'm trying to work on, and also trying to do real estate, and then work about 35 hours as a W-2.
Oh, wow. Bro, first and foremost, you are a busy bee.
I'm busy, but it doesn't produce enough income for me to be satisfied with it. That's the thing. It's just a constant grind.
Sure.
Just for like $20 at a time.
Try to take these off. Maybe I can hear everybody a little bit better. Okay. So are you in sub 2?
I actually joined sub 2, but I didn't have the finances to continue going. So I got 3 months into sub 2. And then I thought I was going to get almost 3 deals done, but all 3 of those deals fell through. And then my W-2 couldn't cover, I think it was like $1,300 a month payments plus the bills for the house. So it just kind of gradually went. Then I went to another boot camp down in Texas, and then thought I was going to get that going, and then got several more deals that fell through. And then, yeah, pretty much it's been a line of about probably 15 deals in a row that's fallen through.
Okay. And why have they fallen through? Just, was it due to the seller? Was it due to not finding a buyer, finances?
Well, a couple of them were due to the seller. I guess there was back taxes that we didn't know about. So the back taxes were extraordinarily high. which pretty much made the house like condemned almost. So we couldn't buy that one. And then it's a lot of it is I work with people out of state, so they don't quite know the demographics like with the area. So I think I'm getting a house under contract for like a good deal.
Mhm.
But next thing I know, I'm talking to local buyers and they're like, no, we need that way lower. And then I try to talk to the sellers and it's like almost impossible to get it at the price they need it for.
Sure.
So
Gotcha.
that's where it's been going right now. Before 2020, I got actually pretty good steam. I got 3 deals within like 4 months,
Oh, okay.
which
Yeah.
I thought I was going to the moon.
Yeah.
And then nothing was clicking. Everybody was like, no, I want to hold on to my house. No, I can't sell it for that. And the prices went sky high. And then I just wasn't able to levitate to the demand, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you still, just curious, are you still playing music right now, or you guys still having band practice? And
I just sometimes I make drum videos.
okay.
Other than that, it's just me personally, because I did a band for, I don't know, probably about 15, 20 years of my life, and it didn't get me hardly anywhere. It got me some cool shows. I played with like Saving Abel, played with Chiudos, I played with what was the other one? I can't remember. A lot of metal bands.
Dude, that's sick as hell, bro. We're gonna have to connect after this, man. That is freaking
For sure.
dope. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, same thing. Play guitar since I was in 3rd grade and been in countless bands and recorded music and got on internet, satellite radio stations and things like that. And yeah, it's been fun, man. The definition of a musician, dude, is taking $5,000 worth of equipment, packing it into a $500 car, and driving to a gig 500 miles away for $50. You know?
19, what was it?
Oh my goodness.
One Dodge Ram van. It had
Dude.
holes in the floorboard.
I love that, dude. You know what? It sounds like there's some alignments between what it is you're trying to do and what it is I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to get to a point to where we got real estate's big enough that I can go back, and I've got kids now. I didn't have kids at the time. And now I'm like, the hardest part of building a business, kind of like building a band, dude, is you got to have somebody who's coming in and who's consistent and going to show up to band practice and stuff all the time, but be willing to put in the work and not miss gigs and things like that. That's the hardest part, dude, of this whole thing. I would rather have a mediocre drummer who shows up every single freaking practice as opposed to somebody who's the Neil Peart of drumming and is just skipping all the time. I mean, you're really not going to go. And so building a business is kind of similar in that fashion, I have found. You want to make sure you're surrounded by the right people.
That's why Ringo Starr played for the Beatles instead of Pete Best. He was just consistent.
Well, now I've got kids, dude, and I don't have to worry about that stuff. Nobody can give me the excuse of not showing up to band practice because I know where they sleep.
Exactly.
Can't give me an excuse. You can't make band practice. You're in here playing video games. Get your ass over here. Anyway, I digress. Well, awesome, dude. So there's about a million different ways that we could go about this, but I want to keep this to an hour, mainly because I've got to go pick up my kid here in another 52 minutes, 48 minutes, something like that.
Perfect. Fine. I gotta go to
so
W2 as well.
I think where we need to start, bro, we always step one is always, no matter what, step one is always knowing what your avatar is. Let's start there. Cause there's about, like I said, if we could turn this thing into a series in and of itself and kind of start picking apart different things, what was working, what you were doing, what wasn't working, how many people you were talking to, tracking KPIs, what your system's like, all that kind of stuff. But I think just in the interest of time and really getting down to the nitty and gritty and making sure that we have a clear vision forward, where ultimately it comes back to, where are we starting? What's that starting point? What does that look like? And that all begins with your avatar. And I'll tell you why, because what ends up happening, let me let my dog out real quick. She's being a stink. So the issue that most people have, especially when they're starting out, is they literally, quite literally, have their hands in almost everything. So Chris and I are running a weekly series in sub 2 right now. Called shit, what the hell is it called, Chris?
Friends with benefits.
Friends with benefits. Yeah, thank you. Speed dating. But it's a little tongue in cheek, but the point of it is to get everybody to understand, because Chris and I don't know how much you know about Chris or I or anything like that, but I've been in sub 2 for 3.5 years. Both mastermind students. Chris has been in here for a handful of years as well. And over the course of the time that we've been in sub 2, obviously we've met with tons of people, both sub 2 students and non-sub 2 students, who've had similar issues of, hey, what am I doing wrong? How come I'm not getting any traction? Where can I get some clarity? And more often than not, the common theme is they end up doing literally anything and everything they can. And now we're in a position where we just entered 4th quarter. And within the next 3 months, as we get closer to that new year, people are going to get really intentional with jotting down their goals and creating some sort of a vision of what they want 2024 to look like for them.
Right.
Now, similarly, people who have fitness goals, as an example, they'll come January 1st. I mean, what happens to all the gyms? They're just
loaded.
packed, right? We're at like 200 max occupancy come January 1st with these gyms. But similarly, what happens 2 or 3 weeks after?
They're empty.
Right. It's like, where'd everybody go, man? It's kind of like that scene on Dumb and Dumber, man, when they hit the owl with the cork and they turn it around and it's like, man, this party really died. That's kind of like what happens to those gyms, right? Like they're just like, man, where'd everybody go? And it's not that people have their goals wrong, but just the way that they frame them and the intentionality behind them is a little misguided. And so, for example, you got people who are trying to get their feet wet with wholesaling, and they might put down some goals of, by this time next year, I want to build a business to where I have $20,000 a month in reoccurring revenue coming in every single month. Now, similarly to what happens when people go to the gym every month, come January, in people's business, come January, what they're going to end up doing is everything. So come January 1st, they're going to be cold calling, and they're going to be all amped up and excited. And I know what that's like because I've been there myself before. They're like, all right, I've got it. I'm going to make 20 grand a month or 30 grand a month consistently by December 31st of the following year. And as a consequence, you're riding that high, and come January 1st, you're literally doing everything you can. So you're cold calling, you're in the Facebook DMing people, you are responding to comments, you are jumping onto Zooms and spending hours on Zooms and thinking that you're getting all this information that you're going to be able to take action with. And then you go and jump on a phone call with somebody else. And so anyway, just like going to the gym, after about 2 or 3 weeks of doing all of that, of contacting people, getting in Zooms, all that kind of stuff, you start to realize that you're not gaining any momentum. You're not any more clear on your vision of what it is you're trying to do than you were, at the beginning or at the end of the year prior while you were setting that goal. And it's because you literally are doing anything and everything. And a lot of people are under the impression that just because they're busy, that they're being productive. And so it's very, very important to understand that we need to have very clear goals so that we can start reverse engineering that and creating very clear pathways to get to that. Now, going back and using the fitness metaphor as an example, a lot of people approach that new year and say things like, I want 6-pack abs. And then they go to the gym and they're working their ass off at the gym. Maybe their nutrition isn't up to snuff quite to where it should be, but that's okay. Like all this stuff, these habits take time to build, right? But they don't start seeing immediate results 2 or 3 weeks afterward. Or they wake up 2 or 3 weeks afterward, they start waking up and they're back to work because they're off at Christmas and New Year's vacation. Kids are back in school. Sports are continuing. Like life's just back to normal, right? And by the time they get off work, maybe people had to work late. And by the time they get back, their wife needs them to run to Walmart, and then they got to take the kid and drop him off here, and you got all the stuff. And it's like, dude, I don't even have time to go to the gym. And so we start building up these excuses in our head as to why we can't do something and why we can't stay consistent. And so hopefully you guys are seeing these parallels that I'm making with this metaphor of going to the gym, as well as the obstacles people face in their business. But it's really important to kind of reframe and understand how to set those goals. So the goal shouldn't be necessarily six-pack abs. If you're finding that you're being inconsistent, we need to reverse engineer those and break those down not only into like quarterly and monthly and weekly goals, but even daily goals. So if you know that stuff's going to come up after work, as an example, and you're just going to be too tired or not have the time that you can commit to staying consistent with those things, then we need to come up with we need to be able to solve that problem differently. So maybe in order to get you to the gym, and we're going to get deeper into this, I just want to give a little bit of context before we kind of dive in a little bit deeper. So maybe in order to make sure that you're consistently going to the gym, just as an example, the goal is not six-pack abs. The goal now, the actual goal, is just waking up at 4 a.m. every day so you can get to the gym before work. That's the goal. The goal isn't six-pack abs. The goal is actually waking up at 4 a.m., but people don't look at 4 a.m. and getting up and waking up and going to the gym before work. They don't see that as the goal. They're seeing six-pack abs as the goal. That's not the goal. And what's interesting is when you can reframe how you're seeing these goals, and you can break it down in that way to where each like what you do on the daily becomes that goal. Like it needs to carry as much weight as the actual goal does of losing six-pack abs. So when you wake up at 4 a.m. every day and you're checking that box, you are hitting that goal. You're fulfilling that commitment that you made to yourself. Guess what now happens as a byproduct of you going to the gym every day? You got six-pack abs now.
A little bit at a time. Yeah.
100%. 100%. So everything like your goals need to be the same way. If you want to make 20 grand a month, then you need to reverse engineer that and break that down into what you want the end of the year to look like, what each quarter needs to look like, what each month needs to look like, what each week, and what those daily activities are going to be. And those daily activities are going to become your goal. Not the actual 20 grand a month. The 20 grand a month, that's the whole cool thing about this whole thing, man, is the 20 grand a month will manifest itself. It will become a byproduct of you making that call every day, or whatever that looks like, whatever that role is. But it all begins, in order for you to even know what that daily goal looks like, it all starts with your avatar.
Correct.
That's where we start. So I know, to make a long story long, that's where we're going to start. Do you have any idea on what that even looks like for you right now?
An avatar? No, I haven't been able to figure that out. I've been trying to build my avatar for a little while, like joining some of the challenges and stuff like that, and Pace Morby's thing, but I just haven't figured out exactly what my avatar is. I just try to be the Zach of all traits, I guess.
Okay.
Try to cold call, try to drive for dollars, try to, SMS, try to call sellers, try to call buyers, try to call title companies, try to set up the deals. And then somewhere in the middle of all that is where things start to get they start to pull apart a little bit.
Okay. Chris, are you able to or anybody who's watching, do you mind? Could one of you guys find the list of avatars and throw it in the chat real quick? Somebody do that for me real quick. That would be super helpful. So while they're doing that, Zach, tell me a little bit about yourself, dude. Like everybody has gifts. Everybody has things that they are naturally good at. Aside from being another Ringo Starr or Neil Peart, what else do you love doing, man? What are some of your gifts, some of your other superpowers?
Well, I go fishing a lot, an exceptional amount, actually, and I make videos over them. Teach other people how to fish. So yeah, pretty much just like
So if you're
don't
making
know.
videos and stuff, it sounds like you're pretty comfortable on camera.
Getting there. Comfortable talking without like stuttering or, pausing. I'm almost there, but not quite yet.
I think
But,
that's the great thing about this whole thing is I think there's always there's always room to grow in certain areas, but it all comes back to like what are you comfortable with? Like what do you love doing? You seem like you're a very outgoing, personable individual. I'd assume, with you being a musician and being on stage and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure that a lot of your stage presence feeds into just who you are as a person.
absolutely.
Am I getting warm at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a pretty extroverted person. I love to hike, climb, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I just went to a canyon a local canyon here
Mm-hmm.
the other day just to mess around and take the children. And that's pretty much my biggest goal is to be able to explore the world, of course, like most people.
Tour
but
the
actually
world.
get in there. Yeah.
Love
Or
it, dude.
tour the world. I mean, I would definitely tour the world.
I love it, dude. Okay. So it's probably safe to say you're a visionary then. We can at least start there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody else, the way that I look at this, you guys have probably heard the terms visionary and integrator. I think sometimes people kind of get these avatars mixed up. And the way that I look at it is you have a visionary and you have an integrator. All of the avatars, how many avatars we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 times 5. We got 19 avatars. If I did my math right, math is my Achilles heel, so I'm terrible at math. I think 19 avatars. So
19 avatars.
we've got visionary and you've got an integrator. Now, everything else, all those 19 avatars fall underneath the umbrella of either a visionary or an integrator. So Chris, thank you for posting that. Chris posted the avatar sheet in the chat. Zach, can you see it?
Oh, where's the chat at? Oh yeah, right. Top 5 avatars, avatar guide. Is that it? Private money lender, capital raiser, helper, and cash buyer. Yeah.
So while you're kind of mulling over these, I want to put some eyes on these real quick. What we're gonna do is pick one. And by the way, most people are usually maybe 3, 4, or even 5 avatars. But we're going to pick one. Okay. So while you're kind of going over those and mulling those over,
Right.
we're gonna start building out your day based on the money-making activities involved around being whatever your avatar is. So we've got direct-to-seller visionary, direct-to-seller integrator, which obviously you're not an integrator. So direct-to-agent, direct-to-referral partner, closer, we got Lonza method, unicorn agent, a TC, transaction engineer, a JV Astro micro flipper, a hunter bird dog, a gator lender, a private money lender, a capital raiser, a helper, a cash buyer, a connector, a leader, and work for someone. Is there any one of those that kind of stand out at all to you?
Direct to seller visionary, connector, and micro partner JV or whatever.
Okay.
Those 3 things are what I've been mainly gravitating towards.
Okay, I can see that. I think they all kind of complement each other in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I started out as a closer. What's that?
Oh man, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
That's the worst one.
So when I joined Sub 2, dude, like there wasn't this Avatar series didn't exist. The Avatar guide didn't exist. All it was we read the book Rocket Fuel. Are you familiar with that book?
Did I read that one? I might have read that one. I did read several. I think it was like Extreme Ownership and like I think it was Rocket Fuel. Oh no, Go Giver and
good. Both of those good ones.
What is it? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Think Rich, Grow Rich, something by Donald Trump.
Oh yeah. Napoleon Hill. Yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, fascinating.
That. Yeah. Well, no, there was one by Donald Trump. What's that? Think Like a Billionaire or something. I can't remember what it was.
Shoot, what is that one called? Man, I don't remember that one. It's like one of those things where it's like on the tip of my tongue. But
I know.
so Rocket
Yeah.
Fuel specifically is the book where the terms visionary and integrator came into play. So that's what that book is all about, and understanding you're either a visionary or you're an integrator. And based on whichever one you are, these are your tasks. These are your partner's tasks. And you guys keep your hands out of each other's cookie jars. It's basically the premise of it. But you mentioned 3 right there. Direct to seller. You said direct to seller, connector, and the JV. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's run with one of those, whichever one. And by the way, we're going to stick with it for 90 days.
90 days. All right. What would it be? But JV would be fun, but direct to seller seems more feasible.
Direct to seller seems more feasible.
Yeah, instead of finding people to JV with. That's
Well,
tough.
what
on
is it? What
Facebook.
is it that you're wanting to do? Do you have any clarity on like what are some of your goals?
My main goal, man, what did I wrote like 30 of them down. I don't even have that anymore because I was supposed to write 100 goals down when I was in the boot camp thing, but
Mm,
yeah, I forgot them now. That's probably why I should have done it. But my goals was originally, I mean, it was just that, just to make a little bit of money at the time to fund, my touring and stuff. And then it turned into that all fell through. Then I'm like, oh, I want to take this full time somehow and replace my W-2. So pretty much I've just been doing everything to try to create about 10 grand a month. 10 grand a month here in Indiana would be like the top melon farmer in the Midwest. So
okay. So why don't we shoot for 100 grand a month?
100 grand a month and try to get the 10%.
Well, I think here's the issue that I think most people have is most people when they're setting goals, when they have things that they're trying to do, they drastically underestimate the exact amount of time, effort, and energy that it actually takes to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're not getting the traction that they want, and they're busy as hell all day long, they're looking at opportunity through a very low-hanging window, is a good way to put it. So, for example, not that there's anything wrong with wanting 5 or 10 grand a month, but you hear a lot of people talk about this, and there's so many books written on this, and it makes so much sense that when you give yourself a goal, like wanting to make 5 or 10 grand a month, again, not saying there's anything wrong with that, but here's what happens is you put yourself in a position to where you are only seeing opportunity through the lens of solving $5,000 to $10,000 problems. So you're direct to sell. So you said direct to seller visionary as an example.
Mm-hmm.
In your head, you're like, man, I want to make 10 grand a month, 10 grand a month. So if you were to just be unleashed and just say, hey, go, you're probably one of the first things you're going to start doing is, well, hey, I don't have a CRM. What CRM is everybody using? So you might start needing to feel like you need to educate yourself on what CRM you're using. So you might make a couple posts, and I'm not presuming what you would do, but just based on what I see most people do after they have set goals, because this is the mindset that they're in now, is they might get on Facebook, they might do a bunch of research, watch a bunch of videos, schedule a bunch of meetings with people who own and operate these different CRMs and do different things and all this other kind of stuff, right? So, dude, that could take up 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even more, depending on, if people have family going on, if they got a W-2 that's going on, scheduling this stuff out. I mean, before you know it, an entire month goes by, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then comes the issue. You got to figure out what list you're going to skip trace. Who are you even going to use to skip trace? Who's got the best data? And now you've got it. That's another month that goes by.
Yep.
So you wasted 60 effing days already on something that's low hanging fruit. Not that I'm not saying that you don't need those things, but anytime that you talk to somebody, as an example, anytime that you meet with somebody, anytime that you connect with somebody new, all you're thinking about is the step that you're in your business and where you're trying to go. And the problem you're trying to solve right now is, what CRM do I use? So when you're talking with somebody at a much higher level than you are, you're not looking at opportunity the right way. You're looking at the quality and level and depth of questions that you're asking is around things that are going to solve $5,000, $10,000 a month problems.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It's the mindset thing. Like,
It is a mindset thing.
You're never going to exceed that $10,000 mind frame. So you're automatically going to self-sabotage to that level. And then other people that you work with are automatically going to be higher, and you're only seeing this level.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think I'm gathering from this.
Let me read an excerpt from one of the books that I read, and this really kind of puts this into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me read this for you guys. Focusing on exponential goals is easier than linear goals. Okay, linear goals are low level goals. Now, focusing on exponential goals is easier than linear goals because exponential goals produce a much different and more specific form of quality. If you're trying to make $10 million, rather than solving 100 problems at $100,000 each, it is much easier in attempting to solve a single $30 million problem. By pouring your attention into the $30 million problem, here's where this is important. By pouring your attention into the $30 million problem, you develop learning and expertise at that fucking level. The quality and depth to solve that single problem will be fundamentally different than the quality and depth to solve 100 cheaper and broader problems. So the amount of income that anybody makes is directly tied to the level of skill and value that you bring to the marketplace. And you being willing to jump in and solve that of a $30 million problem, as an example, it puts you an entire different caliber, as opposed to trying to solve $100,000 problems, 100,000, lower level problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So in a way, it's almost easier, not even almost, it is easier to set these big ass fucking goals, man, that are 10x of what it is you're wanting to do, because there's only a couple different ways to get there. If you're here and you're trying to go up here, there's only a couple different ways that you can do that.
Right.
If you're here and you're trying to get to here, about 1 million different things that you can do. And so when you're going from where you are to trying to even double where you are, if you're trying to go from 0 to 1 deal or even 2 deals a month, there's about 1 million different ways that you can do that. So one, it's easy to get distracted, and all of your time, energy, and effort that you're spending calling sellers and following up with them and following up with them and following up with them and connecting with other people and jumping into Zooms and doing everything, all the monotonous shit that most people go through to go from 0 to even 1 or 2x that. You have to continue doing that and then a little bit more. But to go 10x requires you to have a completely different level of thinking, and there's only a couple different ways for you to get there. So it's so much clearer And when you're having conversations with people, as an example, you're already your reticular activating system. Ed Milet talks about that, but it's basically the function of your brain that looks at opportunity. It's kind of like if you've ever like purchased a new car, for example, or maybe you're buying a new drum set or something, right? Before you, I'm sure you're not just walking into the music store and just going and buying a new drum set. You're probably see somebody playing a drum set and you're like, oh man, you know, I would love to have that. You're probably doing a little bit of research on it now. You're probably watching YouTube videos and people review that drum set. And then you probably start to notice that other bands are playing that same drum set. And then when you walk into music stores, you're probably noticing that drum set more and more. Or when you're buying, same thing happens when you're buying a car. You start doing a little bit of research on it. And then you start watching YouTube videos on it. You get so obsessed with it to make sure that you know the ins and outs, the different trim levels, the colors, the textures, the leather seats, the perforated seats, the everything about it, right? And then what happens when you start, you know, driving from your house to Walmart, or you're taking the kids, dropping them off at school, you start seeing that damn car everywhere. It's not that it wasn't there before, but now it's in your line of view because you're looking for it. Your goals and opportunity are literally the same exact thing, bro. So when you start putting yourself in that position where you're going from here to here, you put yourself in a position to solve higher level problems that are in depth more, that are going to get you in that type of a position. So even if you're shooting for $100,000, when really you'd be fine with $10,000, it takes that same time, effort, and energy to shoot up here as it does to shoot here. Literally the exact time. The amount of time that you would spend trying to figure out what CRM you're going to use could also be spent trying to figure out how you can leverage relationships and money and all these other kinds of different things to get up here. It takes the same amount of time, energy, and effort. Most people, you know, and this is where like mindset and all this other kind of stuff comes in, which we don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing. But the point I'm trying to drive home is it's very important to set goals that far exceed your current capabilities, because you're going to start putting yourself in that position to start solving those problems. It's not ready, aim, fire. It's ready, fire, aim. And the aiming part happens after you've already fired.
Right. Yeah. Homing.
Does all this make sense? So if your goals are to shoot, if you want $10,000, what if you could create 20 or 30 or 40 or $50,000 even by trying to figure out how to solve that problem for $100,000 a month with the same time, energy, and effort it would have taken you to make $5,000 or $10,000 a month?
Yeah, I mean, you would still be completely satisfied because you're already satisfied with the 10,000. And of course, if you make anything over that, that's twice as good.
Right. You probably wouldn't be too upset about that, right?
There ain't no way I'd be upset about that.
So I think homing missile, Angel says. Yeah. So why don't we shoot for that? Why don't we set that at? Why don't we start with there?
You'll set that goal. Now we got to figure out how to get there.
$100,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't we? How long do you think we should give you? You think 6 months?
Oh, it all depends on where I'm sourcing deals from. If I'm doing,
you're going to figure all that stuff out. The whole point of this exercise, you're not going to know how to do it. And you trying to figure it out beforehand is what's going to keep you thinking small and acting small.
Right.
We want to get the money coming in, bro, so you can go back on tour. That's what we're trying to do here. So what if we say, like, since we just started fourth quarter, what do you think the end of first quarter? Like before April 1st?
Before April 1st. Like how much revenue?
100,000.
100,000. For April 1st.
Yeah, would you be okay with that?
Gotta believe it.
Gotta believe it. Gotta manifest it. There we go. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Let's start there then. So that's our goal. Is $100,000 a month. by April 1st.
Hey, I'll sign up for that as well.
Everybody should be signing up for that, man. Let's go.
I
Love that,
actually
brother.
want to hit it before New Year's.
Do what?
Oh,
I
man.
want to hit that goal before New Year's.
Do it, bro.
I will.
Manifest it. I love it.
So, Jesse, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
So there's 3 avatars that I am. It's direct to seller visionary. I'm a visionary big time anyway, but so direct to seller.
Mhm.
Then closer, same
Mhm.
thing. I mean, direct to seller closer. I can close my deals. I can close your deals. I'm damn good on the phone.
They're similar. They're different, but they're similar.
Yeah, and then direct to agent for listed properties that have been in the market for 100 days or more to get sub 2 deals. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm starting today. I'm open Dispo, Rick Sheldon. He's finishing setting up my bots and stuff for SMS. So I'm starting that today
Uh-huh.
with a partner of mine. So we're going to be texting, emailing, ringless voicemail, and actually call every single one of them.
Beautiful, dude. Awesome. So are you just picking one of those then, or what?
So, okay, so my partner is going to be doing more of direct to agent. So we took several counties. I skipped trace some of them. So I would go direct to seller, going around the agent. And my partner is going to go direct to agent, and we'll see which one works better. Which one would you recommend? I don't know if you have experience with that. With unmarket deals, they have been sitting for a while.
I do. I would. I hate to throw my opinion in there,
Go ahead.
but since you asked, I would never recommend anybody do direct to agent. That is the biggest waste of time.
That's what I figured.
There is not one person I know other than Jamil Damji who is making 6 figures a month doing direct to agent. I only know one person. Everybody's doing DTA, but nobody that I know, not to say that nobody's actually doing it. I just, out of everybody, take the amount of people, the amount of volume of people that are doing DTA that are making 6 figures a month. I only know of Jamil. And not to say that people haven't done it, but I don't even know the people that have done it. I don't even know anybody doing it every single month. It's not a business. The problem that I have, pretend like you're Michael Jordan for a second, Yuri. Pretend like you're Michael Jordan. You're the GOAT. You're the fucking greatest to ever do it. But your coach is not going to play you. The way that they determine whether or not you're going to get played is on a spinner wheel. It's a gamble. And that is going to affect your income. So it doesn't matter how you get, how good you get, your income and your ability to continue growing is literally in the hands of somebody else.
Of a gatekeeper.
I don't like that.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So going direct to seller of a listed property, explaining what sub 2 is or a hybrid, whatever there's 1 to 4 year owner.
Is he cutting out on your guys' end, or is it just me?
He's
Explaining
cutting
to
out.
them how it works.
Yuri, you're cutting out pretty bad. But I've got 13 minutes, so I'm gonna get back to Zach real quick. But you and I can connect.
This guy subject to, or how to instruct.
You guys want to let him know in the chat? Just let him know we can't hear him, and I'll get back to him after we're done here.
Frozen.
Yeah. Yuri, I don't know if you could hear us or not. I've got about 13 minutes before I've got to dip out and go pick up my son. But we can definitely connect after this if you want, and I'm happy to help any way I can. You're cutting out, so it's a little hard to hear. But Zach, let's go. So we established 3 avatars for you.
Mhm.
Which one, bro? Let's pick one, and we're gonna stick with it for the next 90 days.
We're gonna go with what is it? Direct to seller visionary.
Direct to seller visionary. Okay.
Yes.
DTS -V. Cool. Okay. Do you know anything about that avatar?
Like talking to sellers?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes, I've talked to probably about 10,000 sellers now.
Okay.
Well, probably about
Dude, that's a
6,000
lot, bro.
sellers.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, over the course of what, 3 or 4 years, I mean, even doing it part-time, you can still add, a few hundred here and there. So that's
Wow.
added up to about 10,000
Gotcha.
or
Okay.
30,000 numbers called and maybe about, yeah, like 10,000 contacts.
Raj. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So you're gonna do DTS. Here's your homework. I'm gonna give you some homework, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, I need you to come up.
Okay.
Okay, I need you to come up with 10 money-making activities.
Money making activities.
And you don't got to do it now, but just
Oh,
after
right,
the Zoom, as we continue, as you continue moving forward,
Mhm.
that's that next step is you need to create 10 money-making activities that are directly tied to your DTS avatar.
Okay.
Anything that comes up throughout your day that is not on that list of 10, you do not do. When you're talking with people, when you're connecting with people, and I mean, I'm kind of a social butterfly myself, but I'm always learning. And even looking back at my time when Chris and I went to the mastermind last year, even being able to look back at that. I mean, I talked to everybody and I built some great friendships. But aside from my relationship with Chris leaving the mastermind, I was no better. I mean, I got some information, which was great, but I was really no better. My business was no better going into it than when it was I came out of it. Now, again, I got some information and I took very diligent notes, which is awesome. But my point being is that even though I connected with people, I wasn't intentional with understanding what the needs of my business were and where I could have leveraged those relationships. So going to that mastermind, if I was to go again, and you can apply this, by the way, so it obviously isn't just limited to just masterminds, but as you continue building your business and you bring other people into your business, and obviously to do that, you're going to have to create some sort of regular networking into your business schedule. And part of those conversations are going to have to be very direct and intentional with, what it is you're looking for as well. So that way you have that, you're again, it goes back to that window of opportunity, right? That are going to get you to $100,000. So when you talk to somebody, you're already cognizant of, all right, is this person on the same level as I am? Are they newer than where I'm at? Are they leaps and heads, ahead of where I'm at? And you're going to be able to ask very specific and direct questions, in order to help you elevate where you are in your game, and you're not just necessarily sitting there BSing with people. Does that make sense? When I've seen it so many times, I mean, that's what I did when I went to the mastermind. I just went and bullshit with everybody. And I was like, dude, I left and I was like, man, I met everybody. I got friends. I got blah, 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 blah. But then hindsight, looking back at it, I was like, oh my gosh, dude, like it was great that I met everybody. But had I like taken inventory of what I needed in my business, those who's, then I could have been a little bit more intentional with those meetings. And instead of spending 30 minutes over here talking to this person about mountain biking or fishing, even though I love doing that stuff, but I could have actually been like, all right, cool. Hey, it was nice to meet you. And then move on to the next person. So I can, with the limited time that I have, I can be as productive as I can. Does that make sense?
That's been every meeting I've ever been to. So
Dude,
yeah, it makes total sense.
Love that. Love that, dude. I remember even there's a pretty big PML in sub 2. And when him and I got connected, he was in a band as well. And the first time we ever talked, we spent our entire hour-long conversation just talking about music, and I loved it. And then he had to jump back on, but then we never like built that professional relationship as well. So there was a missed opportunity, man. I was like, man, that sucks. But anyway, yeah, I just want to kind of give you some context to that, because anything outside of those money-making activities that's tied to direct to seller visionary, you're not going to do. So direct to seller visionary, just to give you an example, that has nothing to do with paperwork. That has nothing to do with dispo.
Okay, now I'm on the same page.
That has nothing to do with building systems and automations and all that other shit. Okay. Any of those three, just, and there's a lot, any of those three, just as an example, are not in direct alignment with DTS. You do not do those. Those are not your job. The mistake most people are going to make, again, right, is even if they're DTS, they're going to start doing all that stuff.
Only question, who picks up the other jobs if I'm only doing one single task?
Ooh, that is a killer question. Chris, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. So on a hypothetical, if you're handling a DTS, so you want to move forward, the seller's ready to move forward, you find a TC, a transaction coordinator that can handle the paperwork. You don't have to worry about specifically the purchase and sale agreement, any of the documents related, find the title company. You find the who in this instance. Now, when it comes to on a hypothetical, if this is a property you want to specifically take down yourself, then you go look for a capital partner.
Okay.
They're out there. They're probably in the Zoom. You just got to ask. You'd be surprised how literally one question could change everything.
Right.
Because it happened to Jesse and I, more so just being vulnerable, transparent, like, hey, this is what I have got. This is what I have got going on. I need this, this, and this. This is what the next steps look like. And putting the pieces together really becomes a rinse and a repeat situation. So it's the X way.
Looks like
As Jesse stated earlier, a lot of people specifically think they have to do it all. They have to know how to do the paperwork. They have to know what that looks like on a high, like a scale, bird's eye view. I got to know this, this, and this. I can't get on the phone with the seller unless I know exactly what the paperwork is going to look like or who I'm going to open up title with. And that is not the case. As Jesse said, you just got to worry about the one thing and just having that quality conversation with the seller. Once they say yes, just find your TC. They can handle the rest from there.
Or anything, dude. You need help with dispo? Go find somebody who's already doing dispo. As you start building your business, the question is not how do I do X, Y, and Z? The question is who? Who is already doing this? And who do I need to go align myself with? So by giving you one avatar to focus on, there's a double-edged sword here, because it gets you focused and building a fucking skill that's going to make you a ton of money. It also leaves all these other holes in your business open now, right? The good news is those holes are not being filled by you. They're being filled by somebody else. You're working to build a skill to where you are the Michael Jordan of DTS. When you need an integrator to come in and do your systems and track KPIs and do all the behind the scene work, your job is not to figure that out yourself. Your job is to go find the Michael Jordan of integrators. When you need somebody to handle the paperwork, your job is to go find a transaction coordinator who's the Michael Jordan of transaction coordinators. And you say, hey, you bring those people into your business. You say, hey, we're going to work together.
Right. So yeah, it's pretty much like a band then, actually.
Dude, exactly like a band, bro. Exactly like, fuck, I don't know why I didn't just say that to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's just like a band, actually.
Yeah, dude.
Gotcha. It's making a lot more sense now, because yeah, I've always been thinking I need to do everything before anybody even wants to talk to me, or I just feel like I'm an impersonator, and then obviously then I can't communicate correctly, because then I feel all weak and dismal on the inside, because I'm like, man, I'm faking it till I make it.
No, not at all, bro. Actually, as a matter of fact, a lot of people, even when they're new, you know, I talked to somebody this morning and yesterday, who are like, man, you know, I just don't know what value I can bring. I'm brand new to somebody, you know, I'm, you know, and there's two things that you do, when you're in that situation. If you already know what your, avatar is, and you're working towards that, and whatever value you're bringing, whatever skill, that's value that you bring to somebody else. Or if you don't have that, like if I was to go to Pace as an example, and I was brand new, you know, it's my job at that point, if I want to build that relationship, to find out what Pace needs. And even though I'm new and I don't have any resources to know how and how to solve that, what if I can go find somebody else who can solve that? Do you think that Pace would find value in that from me?
That's what Pace does himself.
Hey, dude,
So, yeah.
exactly, bro. Exactly. So that's it. That's the secret to this whole thing, man. And when you can approach it with this type of intention, bro, I promise you, you'll start to see your business do this. And I know that because everything that I've gone over with you in the last hour is not, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for here? It's not like
Hyperbole.
theoretically, like it's not like,
It's coming from experience.
that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm a practitioner of this. Chris is a practitioner of this. And our business has literally skyrocketed from doing this very thing. You have to focus on one thing, and you have to figure out, you have to shoot 10x, man. You have to shoot 10x, because it takes the same amount of time, energy, and effort to shoot low as it does to shoot high.
Right.
And a lot of
I'm gonna
people think
might as well think
10x
big.
requires 10x the effort, but it doesn't. There's only a couple different ways that you can do that. And it requires you to actually step back and figure out how to solve higher level problems. And the conversations that you have with people are going to be a lot more higher level, and they're going to put you in a position where you are going to grow very, very quickly. So anyway, let's start there, and then let's revisit this. But yeah, you got your money making tasks. I want you to make a list of that. That's your homework. And then we're going to start building out your day, dude. And then as you start getting traction, we're going to help you learn how to continue scaling and building your business and finding those right people.
Excellent. Yeah.
Sound good?
All about that.
All righty. Sounds good, guys. Well, I am 1 minute late. I've got to go pick up my son before he's standing out there waiting for me. But I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. If you guys got value from this, please share it.
Yeah, Jesse, you're gonna hit me up when we can connect after.
Yeah. Just shoot me a DM. Chris and I've got another meeting we've got to jump into as soon as I pick my son up. But yeah, shoot me a DM. We can find a time to connect.
Awesome. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, brother. Absolutely. Awesome.
All right, bye everyone.
Okay. Zach,
Yeah.
thank you again, bro. This was awesome. It was great to meet you.
Hey, thank you.
All right,
You as
brother.
well.
Have an awesome day, man.
He's
Take
out.
care, man. Rock on.
Hey,